Alright guys, welcome to the Masters Final here at Next Gen Games in Los Angeles. I am Regina.
And I'm Josh.
And so we've got Brian versus Shawn. So Brian is going to be on your left side running that Mimikyu, Tapu Lele, Metagross, Mandibuzz, Tapu Fini, and Arcanine we just saw last match.
And on the top right, Shawn has Tapu Fini, Xurkitree, Mudsdale, Arcanine, Muck, and Porygon 2.
So I think Shawn has a little bit of an advantage here, that Alola Muck isn't really super threatened by anything up on Brian's side, but we did see a lot of really kind of random interesting plays from Brian that you probably might not see from other players on there. So Shawn maybe having to think about that and kind of Brian's play styles.
Yeah, Brian's against Muck. Brian's really just going to have to go for strong neutral hits. You know, Metagross has kind of an iffy matchup against Muck, but with that weakness policy, it could get enough damage to do the deed.
Well, I think that also on Shawn's side, like he has Xurkitree, and that Xurkitree not also super threatened by anything on Brian's side, so we do see those two Pokemon. That Xurkitree has the potential to be really scary with possible tail glows that we might see.
Well, we've got Tapu Lele and Mandibuzz, which is a bit better for Brian than Tapu Fini and Mandibuzz, but he's still got to deal with that Xurkitree quick.
Well, we won't get the seed activation on Mandibuzz with this Tapu Lele, but Tapu Lele, like you said, in a better position to deal with that Xurkitree and that Muck as opposed to Tapu Fini.
Yeah, Shawn's going to have to be careful of that Shattered Psyche, but this is a bit of a mind game because, you know, if Xurkitree protects, it'll take reduced damage and Muck can go for the Poison Jab or the knockoff. Arcanine comes in to reduce damage to Tapu Lele from Muck.
So Brian not liking that Xurkitree, I think, against his Mandibuzz, because even without a Tail Glow, that Xurkitree can do a little bit of damage to his Mandibuzz. But Shawn going for the Protect on that Xurkitree against hopefully Brian, you know, hopefully targeting that having targeted that Xurkitree, not picking up a knockout on it. So Shawn making a really good call on that.
And the turn 1 Shattered Psyche comes in. It's only going to do, well,
20.
It does a quarter of its damage, whatever that damage will be, but this Lele can be full of surprises. So we get a little over, what, a third?
Yeah, that's some pretty good damage, even with that Protect because of...
oh, man. A critical hit, bypassing the drop from Intimidate. Not really how Brian wanted to open that game.
Man, so Shawn getting really lucky on that with that critical hit right there. So getting rid of that Tapu Lele, that is big for that first turn, because Brian going all out in with that Z move. But, oh man, that Poison Jab. So Arcanine getting that switch in for free, but also at the cost of that Tapu Lele. So Arcanine not taking any damage, but that Tapu Lele like going down that turn.
It's in a good position to try and finish off the Xurkitree, but if it's going to be able to do that, it's going to do it quick, because Tapu Fini's out and it does not like that Xurkitree.
So yeah, so Arcanine gonna have to do a lot of like heavy lifting to kind of push back the battle into Brian's favor. So Shawn though, like that Poison Jab, really big turn for him.
He's in a super good position. Like Tapu Fini can try to Calm Mind to maybe take the Muck down quicker, but the Muck's going to be Poison Jabbing. And
then Xurkitree's still in a really good position to get off a lot of like really big
So
hits.
Arcanine's not trying to take out Xurkitree, but Mandibuzz is in and it has its special defense boost.
Xurkitree going back. Wow, Xurkitree going back to Shawn for that Tapu Fini. So we're going to have a battle of Finis again. Brian going for that Calm Mind, which we saw last round against Nathan, doing a lot for him, especially like having his Tapu Fini out on the field for longer. So knockoff coming into that Mandibuzz, getting not really do anything because that Misty Seed did activate this turn.
Yeah, so that's a pretty smart switch, really.
So,
not sure if he realized that, you know, it's hard to analyze the mind games here, but, you know, Tapu Fini against Xurkitree and Muck, you usually see it Protect. So him going for the Calm Mind and switching into an essentially itemless Pokemon really took advantage of Shawn's attempt to knock off the Arcanine.
And Shawn's Tapu Fini revealing that haze. So Brian going back to 0, now going back to just a +1. So I think really big thing on Shawn's side to show that he has those stat eliminations. And so even that Mandibuzz, I think that special defense on it is gone now as well.
Yes.
So, but the Wiki Berry is now gone on Shawn's side. So Muck going in for that Poison Jab.
Brings Fini to half. Thankfully, there's no poison because Misty Terrain blocks all status for grounded Pokemon.
And so, so that Tapu Fini on Brian's side, I think Brian's gonna have to really kind of change the strategy a little bit now, knowing that Shawn's Tapu Fini has that haze. And haze I think isn't something that you usually see a lot of Tapu Fini running for a lot of time. You'll usually see taunts.
Yeah, when it was more common, I think, when Eevee was more popular. So now Brian kind of just has to pick his poison because he's not really going to knock out either Pokemon, and there's a knockoff coming in from that Muck most likely.
So, I don't know, we'll see. So the Muck going in for that Poison Jab again to finish off this turn. Getting the KO on Brian's Tapu Fini. So some stellar plays again from Shawn. We've seen both of them kind of be really aggressive players. I think Shawn has just been playing a little bit more, just a little bit better than Brian has so far here.
Yeah, that turn 1 was still really awful for Brian because, Xurkitree and Muck and a critical hit, just not the greatest mix. So now we've got Arcanine in. I think that Muck might be down to -2, but probably -1.
But I mean, Shawn has also shown that, hey, any stat changes that have happened can get rid of it with Haze.
Right, so it's intimidated again, I should have said. So yeah, this is an awkward situation again, because Arcanine can go for the Wild Charge on Finny and maybe finish it off, but it's Arcanine and Mandibuzz versus Shawn's entire team, so...
Well, and I think Shawn has just kind of shown that he's really comfortable dictating the pace of any sort of round. We saw in his earlier round that he's really good about calling switches, and he's really good at sort of predicting his opponents. So Brian just, I think, having from the get-go, being caught off guard by that critical hit, having to play catch-up from the beginning of turn 1, he did get that Z move off. But that Xurkitree hasn't shown up since. So both sides using Protect for their Pokemon. Foul Play coming in onto the Muck. Yeah.
Does a modest amount of damage.
And
so let's see. Muck's knockoff goes into Arcanine's Protect, and another turn.
So I mean, Arcanine protecting this turn still at like full HP, so leaves a kind of a lot of room to do some damage now, and it's nice that it didn't take any hits. We're not really sure what item this Arcanine might be running, and so that Muck kind of trying to go into that. So the Flare Blitz will be connecting with this Muck.
It's not enough to knock it out, but thankfully Brian already knocked off its berry with Mandibuzz.
So it did pretty good damage.
Here comes the Muddy Water from Tapu Fini.
Connecting with both, not picking up the KO on Arcanine, but getting the accuracy drop on Mandibuzz. Oh, not really doing anything this turn for it, and...
Oh, Muck still doesn't go down despite that heavy foul play.
So the Poison Jab going to the Mandibuzz, also not picking up any sort of KO or a poison, and no poison obviously. But now that Mystery Train is gone, we might see some poisons from Muck.
Well, more likely, Arcanine is just going to go down next turn because it hasn't revealed Wild Charge. It could go for it here if it has it, but Muck will finish it off. So again, Brian just has to pick his poison. And he picks Tapu Fini, probably hoping to finish off the Muck with Mandibuzz, but unfortunately, Fini is still there.
And then Brian proccing his berry. So I think though, for the second match, it's not really getting that dodge on that Arcanine from that Muddy Water. That is going to be a really big thing for Brian. And the Mandibuzz still holding on and roosting this turn, so prolonging this match a little bit more. So that was really, really lucky for Brian.
Brian's gotten himself a little more breathing room now, but we'll have to see how that pans out as Muck goes for Poison Jab into Mandibuzz. No poison.
Not doing a lot of damage. Still gonna have to do some heavy work if he wants to try to get this turn this match around. This Tapu Fini and their Muck are on their last legs on there, but Shawn does still have his 2 Pokemon in the back. That Arcanine's still in a pretty comfortable place, but it has procced its berry already, so Brian kind of have to be a little bit more careful about what he's gonna try to attack.
So this turn, Brian is in a very good position to take 2 KOs and see the other half of Shawn's team, but it's going to be Xurkitree and I believe something we haven't seen yet. So, if Arcanine can take it down from its 66% health or so.
Oh, the Porygon 2 comes out. So Shawn revealing his last Pokemon, which I actually think is interesting because he could have kept that hidden until the last minute.
Yeah, but, he's got a very good situation now to win Game 1. Porygon 2 is so bulky that only if the Arcanine had close combat could it really get through. I mean, look at that. That Flare Blitz did, what, a quarter of health? It's just not enough.
But Mandibuzz in a good place to roost. So I think Brian making some good calls right now and kind of having a little bit more fight still in him. Shawn still in a really good position though. He's still got that circuitry in the back. He's still, even though his Tapu Fini is on a little, like only a little bit of health left, it can still be in a really good place to try to take out Arcanine later on with a Muddy Water.
So Muck goes down to Wild Charge, and with that gone, Brian might be in a good situation to knock off Porygon 2's Eviolite as he does, and finish it off with Flare Blitz.
So Return coming in onto that Arcanine does, almost gets the knockout on there. So really, really close for Shawn on that one. So I think though, this match is probably going to just go to Shawn.
Yeah, Brian, almost all of Arcanine's moves have recoil damage, and Mandibuzz isn't going to be able to take that Porygon 2 alone.
And so I think this match, it's not a matter of who played better in this case. I think it was just a matter of Brian getting really caught off guard by a couple of returns.
Yeah, Shawn did play well, but the critical hit certainly helped, and while Brian's Arcanine avoided the Muddy Water, it was too little too late.
Protecting the Arcanine this turn kind of just prolonged the inevitable with that 5 HP left.
Yeah, his hope here is to take out the Fini, take out the Porygon 2 with Flare Blitz, and then Xurkitree comes in.
I think it's the second accuracy drop that we've seen on this Mandibuzz.
But it's still hitting.
Porygon 2 using Recover, so getting back almost all of that health from earlier damage. So Shawn just kind of doing this long game right here, where as Brian, I think for match 2, we'll have to kind of consider all these Pokemon that Shawn has shown to kind of bring in some heavy hitting things. Didn't see a lot from that circuitry, so I think kind of have to be worried about that as well.
Yeah, the longer this goes on, the more information Brian can gather, which is a plus for him, but Shawn has been in control of this game since the first.
So that lone Mandibuzz now left on Brian's side, getting hit with that Muddy Water. We might see another accuracy drop.
Or a knockout. It's doing more damage now. Okay. Finally misses foul play on the Porygon 2. And Return comes in to almost finish Mandibuzz off.
This Mandibuzz is staying strong, which is I think super surprising, because Mandibuzz is not one of those Pokemon that you would see as the last Pokemon on any sort of field.
Yeah, Brian's been holding on for a very long time. It's actually quite surprising, but he doesn't want to prolong it anymore and forfeits to regroup for the second turn.
So Shawn getting that match 1 in this finals round. So I think that even though that Shawn had protected his Xurkitree and had taken that Psychium Z, I think Brian losing that Tapu Lele turn 1 was a huge deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because it could have potentially moved before the Xurkitree the second turn to finish it off. He would have had to switch it out for Fini, and Fini would have taken damage. But yeah, that critical hit was huge.
So once again, on Brian's side, you've got the Mimikyu, the Lele, Metagross, Mandibuzz, that Tapu Fini, and Arcanine. And on Shawn's side, you've got the Fini, Xurkitree, Mudsdale, the Arcanine, Alola Muck, and Porygon 2. So we didn't actually see the Mudsdale.
Yeah, that was interesting. To be fair, unless Brian brings Metagross, there's not a whole lot for Mudsdale to attack. Obviously, there's the Arcanine, but it at least gets Intimidate. But that actually is surprising, because he doesn't have a whole lot to deal with Mudsdale, but I guess Muck is the huge threat on Shawn's team.
Well, and I want to say too, on Brian's side, we saw the Tailwind last round, but we didn't see it here at all. Which I guess, wasn't really needed, and we didn't see a Trick Room from anybody either. Yeah,
Shawn's team is pretty slow. Brian's is slightly faster, but it's mainly a game of slow, heavy hitters here, as we saw last round, which kept on long after it was over, really.
So I think I'm curious to see if Brian's going to change a couple of his team makeup in here against Shawn's side. So, because Shawn, I think, had a really comfortable team. He had a lot of bases covered. Again, we didn't see a lot from that Xurkitree, which so Brian leading with the same as match 1, and Shawn's the one who's switching it up
with Arcanine and Muck over Xurkitree and Muck. So I think Brian's going to have to be a little more careful with that Shattered Psyche. Because if it goes into another Protect, Shawn could easily pull ahead once again.
And I think what Brian is hoping for is not a critical hit again on here, because we are on Lele's terrain on here. So I think though, even if Shawn does have Tapu Fini in the back, it'll benefit Brian in a way as well because of that Misty Seed.
Oh yeah. So Finny is protecting this turn, not wanting to get hit with that Deja Vu. It blocks a Flare Bliss. Mandibus goes for a knockoff on Muck, and Poison Jab into the Protect.
I always think it's very interesting when people double up into Pokemon slots.
Yeah, well, I mean, Shawn, either he thinks he won't be able to take Lele out without a critical hit, or he was expecting Arcanine to come in which case he would need both of his Pokemon in order to take it down, because that Z-move is hugely dangerous, and it's, you know, kind of Brian's one ace in the hole here against an otherwise negative matchup.
Well, I think so. Tapu Lele not taking any damage this turn. Really comfortable for Brian to like switch in now into the Arcanine that we might have seen last turn, and so that Mandibuzz getting that knockoff on the Mach 2 leaves it open to a lot of attacks.
Yeah, it's good that he got that done as soon as he could, because now it doesn't have its healing, and that's like half of Muck's kit right there. So Flare Blitz comes into where the Tapu Lele was. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, so Brian's Arcanine taking that really comfortably, and then the knocking off the Choice
Revealing
Scarf.
Arcanine's Choice Scarf.
A Choice Scarf on an Arcanine. Okay. Alright.
Yeah, I've seen Shawn use some interesting things before, but clearly he's still full of surprises.
Alright, definitely not something that you would expect on there. So that Mandibuzz still in the field, not taking any damage at all. I'm hoping we see probably a Tailwind at some point in here just to like really boost up that speed, because there is an Arcanine on the field.
Yeah, now that he's knocked off that Choice Scarf, Tailwind would be pretty good here, but he has ironically freed it up to use more of its attacks. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out next.
So that Muck still in really good places to kind of deal some other damage. Oh, so Shawn taking back that Arcanine and sending out Porygon too.
Perhaps anticipating the Tailwind and wanting to capitalize on it with a Trick Room. So it gets the attack boost, and Arcanine goes for a Flare Blitz into Muck, I think? Yes.
Yeah. So doing a lot of damage into
it's
that.
It's really missing that berry right now.
Yeah.
Oh, knockoff into Porygon 2, taking down the Eviolite. So if Shawn likes, you know, slow, heavy hitters, Brian likes reducing them to half of what they were, but...
Alright, and so Shawn picking up that KO on Brian's Arcanine. So Shawn still in a really good position. That Alola Muck really doing a lot.
Brian's doing a lot better this game, though. Muck's Berry is gone, and it's almost down. Porygon 2's Eviolite is gone. If he can manage to capitalize on the new squishiness of Shawn's team, he might be able to bring this back around.
Well, I think that was smart of Brian to protect his Tapu Lele that first turn, knowing exactly what Shawn can do. So now we see the Tapu Lele back out again. It still does have its Z move. It can use it against that Porygon if it feels really bad.
Porygon 2 usually doesn't carry Protect, and its Eviolite is gone, so he could just wipe it off the field right now. And Muck might not even be able to retaliate with a knockout on Lele.
So Shawn, I think, still in a very comfortable position, though.
True.
He's made some good calls on here, but Brian also kind of like getting a lot more footing than he did in that first match. Kind of being able to protect that Tapu Lele is super essential for him.
Shawn brings back Porygon, bringing in Tapu Fini to eat that Z move and remove the terrain.
Alright, and so we've got that Misty Seed activating on Mandibuzz. So I also think that's a very interesting thing that we see a lot too.
Yeah, Brian has just been capitalizing on his opponent's Misty Terrain. So the Z move comes in, probably going for Finny. Muck protecting this turn was interesting because that covers his bases in case Brian predicts the switch and goes for a Moonblast.
Alright, so that Shadow Psyche going to be going into that Tapu Fini. Probably not going to be able to pick up a knockout?
No, not outside of... Oh!
No,
almost.
Procking the Berry, yeah. So, almost but not quite getting that on there. And so, not protecting itself from any damage this turn. So, Shawn really nicely eating up that Z move on Brian's side. Brian kind of still having to struggle to play catch up from all of like Muck's attacks.
What's interesting here is that, as we saw, I believe, last round, Brian's Lele has Thunderbolt, so it could be in a good position to finish off the Finny here.
Oh, that's true. That is a move that like we didn't really see a lot on Tapu Lele's. So this is still kind of like an ace in the hole for him, I think, not revealing that yet. He didn't get a
Yeah,
chance to reveal it in match 1.
Yeah, I don't know what Brian's feeling right now, but I'm kind of nervous because like Lele still Tapu Fini still has most of his health. I don't think a Thunderbolt would knock it out in one go, but I don't know.
Could do considerable damage, and so the Arcanine comes back out, and
Tapu Lele goes for a Moonblast into the Muck, which is now an Arcanine, taking that hit not too comfortably, but still comfortably.
man, what? Pokemon avoiding Muddy Water in general is just a very big thing, but this Mandiba is avoiding that, which we saw last match had a lot of accuracy drops on it. Finally getting up the Tailwind on Brian's side, so the Arcanine not going to be able to go first like it usually does on field, and Tapu Lele really taking that Muddy Water really comfortably and opening it to more attacks.
Yeah, Arcanine is below half HP. That is a prime opportunity for Tapu Lele. But he has to be careful because if he uses Psychic, it could switch to Muck, but he goes for Thunderbolt into the Tapu Fini, and it doesn't quite KO.
It's almost there, and are we doubling? No, so we go into the Foul Play to the Arcanine, picking up the KO on this one. So good turn for Brian here. I think it would have been really nice to get that double KO, but still getting rid of that Arcanine is really good. Tapu Lele taking that Moonblast really well still.
No special attack drop, huzzah.
Yeah, and so Shawn Tang back out that Porygon, that Muck's still in the back. This Porygon, if it can survive the hits from both these Pokemon, which it should be able to do, can set up
Mandibuzz could probably take it down Tapu Fini with that knockoff, and that sets up Tapu Lele to do heavy damage to Porygon 2, or switch out for another team member so that it can get Psychic Terrain back up later.
Well,
Wait.
and I think that Porygon is in a nice position, again, like to be able to set up Trick Room because the Tailwind is up on Brian's side.
This is true as well. Tapu Fini goes for a Protect, and we're probably seeing that Trick Room from Porygon 2.
The Moonblast going into Porygon 2, doing
good damage.
Pretty good damage on there.
Oh, Foul Play taking advantage of that attack boost from Download. Will it KO? Nope. This has just been a sad story of missed KOs.
And there we go, we see that Trick Room from Shawn's side. Brian doubling up into that Porygon, especially when that Fini protected this turn. Really good call on his part. Earlier we've seen some of his double ups not really pay off, but I think in this one, it was a really smart call. Unfortunately, he didn't get the KO.
Yeah, and now Porygon 2 is free to recover. I'm actually a little confused as to why he's not switching out Tapu Lele. I guess what's in the back doesn't have the wherewithal to withstand a Moonblast, but we'll have to see how this pans out. So it's going into the Mandibuzz.
Oh, good call on Shawn's side on that. So that Porygon now back up to the green is going to be a little bit harder to like take down now, especially because of Trick Room. I think Tailwind does expire this turn though. That Tapu Fini is going by, and that Tailwind does expire, and so does the Mist. So Brian, I think, protecting the Tapu Lele smart just in case. So now can we just get out some attacks? We see the Muck again.
So he's gonna have to hope he can deal with it with whatever is in the back.
So I think Shawn, despite having lost that Fini, still in a really good spot. That Trick Room is up, and that Tailwind, even though it's not there anymore, you know, he's got that Porygon. It's in the green. It can take hits really well. That Mandibuzz can do some damage, but
I feel like this really centers around the Muck. Shawn needs to protect it. Brian needs to knock it out. It has a speed advantage right now, so I think Tapu Lele will be forced to switch. But Mandibuzz can start chipping away with Foul Play, and it won't be able to heal. So, you know, that'll leave Porygon 2 alone, and Brian might be able to bring this back around.
I think we've only seen like 3 of the 4 moves that Porygon 2 has as well, so there could be something else that Shawn is carrying on that Porygon.
Yeah, I would expect Thunderbolt. That's a pretty common. Oh, it has Return, so yeah, it presumably doesn't have Thunderbolt because, you know, with Return, and you want, say, Ice Beam for Garchomp.
Oh, I thought that was. So Shawn picking up that KO on that Tapu Lele, and Brian going for the Roost on here. So this Mandibuzz is still holding on for another turn. And we get to see Brian's last Pokemon on here, which I think was where we saw the Arcanine. And Tapu Fini. Alright. So, on the Tapu Fini is at full health because I don't think we've seen it this match.
No, this is its first entrance onto the field, and it's quite the entrance. This is, you know, these are the defining turns now as we're down to the last 2 Pokemon on each team.
Well, and Trick Room is still up though, so Shawn does have a little bit of an advantage on
Yeah, most likely, you know, Tapu Fini is probably going to lose its item to knockoff. Porygon 2 will attempt to take down that Mandibuzz a little. He could actually double into it, expecting a protect from Tapu Fini. But
well, that Muck is still doing a lot of damage. It's been probably like the biggest damage dealer on the field that we've seen so
absolutely.
far. And like Porygon can take hits really well too. But
Muck is protecting surprisingly. We'll have to see if Brian capitalizes on this with a Calm Mind, perhaps.
Really defensive turn from Shawn.
Yeah, that's kind of strange because when you think about it, he's kind of just stalling out his own Trick Room. Because, you know, Mandibuzz is back to full health, Tapu Fini is free to do whatever it's going to do. A Moonblast into Muck's Protect, namely. And
which made it really easy for Shawn to like get his Porygon 2 back up to the full health. So that Muck though, I don't think it will be able to survive a Moonblast from Tapu Fini.
Yeah, Trick Room is ticking down, and if he can just wait out the last couple turns, that Muck is going down. But here comes the Poison Jab. Can Brian's Tapu Fini hold on?
Oh,
just
yeah.
barely. And there's the berry.
So Brian, I think going for that Roost was a really interesting choice that previous turn. So that Foul Play coming into the Muck and doesn't quite get the KO on here, but Moonblast going into that Muck does. And so I think, is this the last turn? Is this last turn for Trick Room?
I don't know. I haven't been counting, unfortunately.
Oh, it was.
There we go. Yeah,
cool.
It's been an exciting match. Hard to
so we definitely go to so that Porygon 2 is still at full health though, but I think it should be Brian's on here, so that Tapu Fini will Moonblast into it.
Yeah, it doesn't have the berry anymore, but it does have, you know, 1, maybe 2 turns to use Calm Mind. Meanwhile, Mandibuzz can be slamming it with Foul Play. We see the Muddy Water coming in, hopefully, hoping to drop some accuracy. Oh, there it is.
Get the accuracy drop.
I should probably stop saying that, because it seems like it happens every
time you say it, it does get the accuracy drop, yeah.
Yeah.
So Trick Room again. Alright.
So this gives it an opportunity to recover, but that's also an opportunity for Tapu Fini to boost its special attack and special defense.
And Mandibuzz doesn't need to Roost, so it'll just foul play into it.
So it looks like Brian has brought this back around for Game 2. And that means we could get the all-important Game 3.
And there we go, that recover on that Porygon 2. So prolonging the end of this match just a little bit more. I think probably trying to see some damage calculations from Brian's side to see what it does to his Porygon. So there we go, to half health. Tapu Fini go for the Calm Mind on here.
Yeah, if I were Shawn, I'd kind of just be phoning this one in, trying to plan for next game while I'm, you know, clicking moves on Porygon.
While clicking that recover button.
Yeah, that's.
There we go.
There's not much else he can do, so might as well just think about what to change for next game.
Oh, there's the return, so not a recover on this one.
Oh, possibly expecting another Calm Mind. Foul Play comes in.
It should pick up the KO this turn.
Oh,
no,
just barely.
So close.
But Tapu Fini doesn't go for the Calm Mind, and the Muddy Water does connect, and Porygon 2 goes down.
Cool, we're going to Game 3. Oh, this will be fun. So
I'm glad you're excited. I'm a little tired right now, honestly.
Well, well, I think like it was just interesting because Brian did make a really good comeback. He protected that Tapu Lele really well that first turn after having seen what Shawn could do with his Pokemon from that first match, and then making the switch in. There was some moments where I thought Brian was going to lose it, but he recovered really well on that end.
Yeah, it was a close game, but he managed to pull through, and now we've got Game 3. Hopefully with less critical hits.
So saw some interesting Pokemon on Shawn's side this time, so we didn't see the Xurkitree, and I kind of wish we had seen a little bit more from it in that first match, and we still haven't seen on Brian's side that Mimikyu or that Metagross make it into this round.
Yeah, I think Metagross isn't exactly going to be that great against Muck. Obviously it can get its weakness policy boost off of the knockoff, but versus Muck and Arcanine and the potential, what's the horse called? Mudsdale, yes.
Very tired. Well, I think Shawn showing that he was okay using Trick Room in that second match might kind of tell Brian, hey, I can bring a counter to that as well, just to kind of make the match go faster. But I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, here we go. Game 3 is starting. So I think, what do you think Brian can change for this game?
I think having a Trick Room counter might help him because that Tailwind and then that Trick Room kind of hurt.
Yeah, oddly enough, he never got punished on the Tailwind, did he?
Match 3.
It's dropping a lot.
So we see Shawn return to his Game 1 lead of Circuitry and Muck, which is still hugely scary, especially against Tapu Lele and a boostless Mandibuzz.
Psychic Surge will go on the field, so we might see that Psyche and Z first turn.
Yeah, this is a huge mind game because this is the exact situation we had Game 1, and Circuitry protected immediately. But, you know, Brian, learning from that, might protect his Tapu Lele this turn, but if Circuitry doesn't protect, it could get a Tail Glow, it could go after Mandibuzz. You know, this is... So Shawn stands to get a lot of momentum this turn.
So Brian going for that protect again like he did last time. Oh, and now we see a Z move coming in from Shawn.
It's the Electrium Z powering up Circuitry's Thunderbolt. This is going to be a big hit.
So this is something we didn't see from Shawn at all. So I'm really glad we got to see that Z move this match. And so it is going into the... Is it top of the... No, it's going to go into Mandibuzz. So we don't want to see a... So he doesn't want to see a Tailwind coming in from Brian. Does get that KO. It is a very dead bird. And Circuitry getting that Beast Boost and not needing that Tail Go, so that is a scary Circuitry on the field now.
So that puts even more pressure on Brian to just go for that Shattered Psyche, which could hit another Protect, and that could be catastrophic.
And so, like, I think in a weird sort of mirror, we lose that Mandibuzz in turn 1, which I think is really big because, again, that Tailwind could have really helped him out, especially against Pokemon like Circuitry.
Yeah, but now Brian has to play carefully because I would, if I were Shawn, I would Protect here. He doesn't lose a whole lot by doing that. Muck can go for the Poison Jab. It can take whatever the Arcanine is going to dish out in stride. So we'll have to see. Oh, he withdraws Circuitry despite getting a Beast Boost and sends in Tapu Fini to remove the terrain and reduce damage from Shattered Psyche.
Well, and it won't matter anyway because he did lose that. Brian did lose that Mandibuzz, so there's no need to fear that Misty Z that we've been seeing from Brian's plays.
Yeah, so that's a good opening from Shawn, really, and this match has so much deja vu.
Alright, and so Shawn's Muck does proc that berry, gets back up to full health on here. And then Lele using Moonblast onto that Muck to just get some more damage on there. Another half health one. Really smart call on Brian's side.
Yeah, that was a bold play facing down a +1 Circuitry.
Alright, and Tapu Lele does not get the critical hit this time from that Poison Jab, which is a really big thing.
And so, Misty Terrain blocks any poison status that could have come through otherwise.
And I think what's been interesting about the way Brian's been playing is he's been doubling up on Pokemon a lot, which is something I don't see a lot of trainers really doing because Protect is something that you should be afraid of. But that Muck now is going to be at that health, doesn't have that berry anymore, and you know that Tapu Fini is still at full health. And can get that Muddy Water, but that Arcanine and that Tapu Lele could potentially pick up a KO on that Muck. And what we've seen is that Muck is one of the bigger threats that Shawn has on his team.
Yeah, so we could see, I don't know, Moonblast into Muck or Protect.
So Brian wanted to keep it a little bit longer.
Tapu Fini protects, probably fearing a Wild Charge, but we'll have to see if it takes the bait or it goes into Muck. So Shawn reveals Shadow Sneak to no profit, and Muck goes down to Flare Blitz.
So good call on Brian's side, and you know, protecting that Tapu Lele again for this turn and getting that knockout on Muck. I think Shawn did play it really safe with that Protect. You could have gotten that Calm Mind off if you had wanted to. So Paragon 2 coming out, so we could see a potential Trick Room in this next turn.
He'll have to switch out Fini if he wants to do that though, because otherwise it'll take a huge Wild Charge.
But we also don't have the Mandibuzz for the knockoff on the Eviolite on that Porygon 2, which is a big thing for Shawn.
Oh, yeah.
Because it did happen, it had happened in those previous matches. That Tapu Lele is still on the field, can't protect this turn, but it could do some heavy damage to that Porygon 2.
It still has the Z-move available, correct?
Mm-hmm. It still does have its Z-move, and that Circuitry, though, is in the back for Shawn, so he could be saving it for that one.
Okay, Wild Charge comes in from Arcanine. What are we going to see next? Could it be the Shattered Psyche? No, it's Thunderbolt. Probably picking up the KO, but I'm not sure it does.
Oh, barely holding on that Tapu Fini, and it procs the berry. That was really lucky on Shawn's side. Oh my goodness.
I want to say we saw a near miss from Thunderbolt before, didn't we?
Oh, I don't know. But the Muddy Water does connect with both. It doesn't pick up either KO, but it gets the accuracy drop on Lele. Oh my gosh, that was a really exciting turn. So Arcanine does get the berry proc. And the return from Porygon, so not a trick
Finishing off Tapu Lele.
That Tapu Lele did hold on, but he didn't use the Z move at any point, so that Xurkitree can switch in really nicely, and Shawn doesn't have to worry about Psyche and Z anymore.
Yeah, Brian's done a good job of focusing in on Shawn's heavy hitters, but you know, Shawn also got rid of that Mandibuzz and also the Tapu Lele, so he's been denying Brian a lot of utility here.
Right. That was a huge turn though, like, oh wow. So that Arcanine is still in a really good position, I think, to take down that Tapu Fini. That Porygon 2, probably gonna be using Trick Room, except there is that Xurkitree in the back to think about still.
Yeah,
so Tapu Fini goes down.
Brian, like, let's see. I don't know what he's gonna do, but his best move here might be to just, Calm Mind.
Well, so, and like Brian, I think his hallmark in this round has been doubling up on Pokemon, so if he thinks he can comfortably take down that Porygon 2 later on, he could be doubling up on that Xurkitree later on if he doesn't fear that Protect.
Return comes in instead of Trick Room, so this is coming down to the wire.
And he does have that Xurkitree on there, and we do know that it has that Thunderbolt on it. And so I think this is gonna go to Shawn because he still has that Porygon on there that returned.
Yeah, it's Finny against the world, and one Calm Mind just won't be enough.
So Shawn doing some really good some really good calls on here. Brian also making some really good calls. It was just a matter of like those hits and protecting the Xurkitree this turn from Shawn. Tapu Fini going for the new boss into there. All right.
Just softening up Finny for the final blow.
And there we go, that return doing some pretty good damage. And now we'll get that boost from Misty Terrain. So,
Shawn isn't really fishing for status here anyway. He just wants to take that big KO with Xurkitree.
And there's the Thunderbolt. It should do enough.
Oh, just barely. Rocking the berry, yep.
Oh, that berry was still there.
Yeah, if Xurkitree has it, now would have been a good time for Tail Glow, especially as Finny keeps boosting.
It's now at +2.
Yep.
Nice. So
unfortunately, that doesn't protect it from Porygon 2's return, which is still doing big damage.
Still does hold on. So I think next turn we'll do it. That Xurkitree and the Porygon both at full health. So Shawn really doing a nice pace of battle this round. Brian's still making some good calls and recovering from those first 2 matches. It just wasn't enough in the end, I think. And getting the critical hit on that last one. So good job to Shawn. An unnecessary critical hit.
All right, I missed that.
So good job, Shawn. Good job. That was
your Los Angeles Premier Challenge #2 champion is Shawn Tang.
Very good place from Brian as well. The really nice recovery from like that first match. And
Props to Brian for coming back. That was very good.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you at the next Premier Challenge. Thanks.
That is on November 4th.
Yeah. Have a good night, guys. Whew. That was